All right, welcome everyone to the Keshe Plasma Reactor group for Wednesday, October 2nd, 2019. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department, part of the Public Teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, as one of the several hosts today, with John and Mark helping as well. And I think we're ready to dive into today's show. Sorry, we're about a half hour late here now. We had several issues with pushing of the incorrect buttons and general collapse of my internet connection. So we got that sorted out, and I think we're ready to begin here. I'm just bringing in a couple of attendees, and we'll begin today's show. So some people may still be wondering what we do in the Keshe Plasma Reactor group, and that's a good question. I often wonder myself, especially before the show, when I don't know what the heck's going to come up and what we're going to even discuss. But somehow we always manage to have some very interesting and in-depth topics and discussions that we engage in here. So, okay, so usually I begin by asking if anybody has something they'd like to present or bring up. See, John, you have your microphone open. Did you want to?
Yeah, I was just going to say we live in another world, or in a different way of seeing the whole universe. And also, Gianni could present us his material he had shown us in the Spanish teachings, all his oasis, and he could go live on his oasis and show us all his different plants.
Sure, that could be a good way to begin, and I'm sure he'll have some enlightening words for us to listen to as well. And so you can act as translator then, John, correct?
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
¿Entendiste, Gianni? Me imagino.
Sí, claro, y gracias. Ok, empezamos.
Where is he located?
In Romania.
Thank you.
En una ciudad de montaña en Rumania.
Up in the mountains, 1,800 meters up over the water level.
Petrila se llama.
His place is called Petrila.
Que el nombre sale de la piedra.
The word Petrila comes from stone. In Spanish, it's piedra.
Sí. Y aquí antes fue una explotación muy grande de carbón.
During history times, this place was historic for exporting a lot of charcoal.
Ok, lo primero voy a empezar con un share para presentar algunas fotos.
He shows some pictures in the sharing of his plantations.
Que es también del oasis de Nico.
It's
que
also
está de distancia de aquí.
It's another place nearby. It's Nico's place, a girl that works with him in dentistry.
Ok, ¿se puede ver?
Sí, podés agrandar un poco. Ahí está.
Ok, aquí es en la terraza de Nico.
This is at Nico's place.
Donde hay más de 70 especies de plantas y flores.
She's got over 70 different species of flowers and plants.
También tomates, berenjena,
Tomatoes and berenjenas. What are those? Eggplants.
esos son un tipo de berenjena de color rojo.
These are red eggplants.
Ok. Los tomates,
The cherry tomatoes.
aquí es, en el cubo es una planta de aloe vera y los tomates han salido solo, han caído una semilla.
In this bucket, he had aloe vera plant, and suddenly these cherry tomatoes appeared.
Aquí una flor, también lechuga y otras.
Some lettuce and other flowers.
Y no se puede ver, pero las eprubetas son cerca de la planta, eprubetas con gas de CO2 y CTNO.
He's got some small veils with CO2 and zinc oxide hidden behind the plants. Tenés un poco de menta ahí también, ¿no?
Sí, hay, por ejemplo, aquí que se puede ver, hay 9 especies de planta porque también hay ortica.
Esa ortiga. Sí. ¿Es parecido
Sí.
a la menta? ¿O me equivoco?
No, la menta está un poquito detrás.
Sí. You can see some mint there hidden behind the other plants.
La terraza está cubierta con policarbonato compacto, que parece que es vidrio y tiene 3 milímetros de grueso.
Yeah, he's got a winter house or winter shed with a 3 millimeter. 3 milímetros o 3 centésimas de milímetro.
3 milímetros.
¿Tan grueso? No. ¿Es
Sí,
policarbonato entonces?
Policarbonato compacto.
Ajá. Oh, no, la verdad que no lo conocía ese. This shed is made out of polycarbonate, which is 3 millimeters thick.
John, lo voy a utilizar para construir un domo que lo voy a cerrar con policarbonato compacto.
He's going to build a dome and cover it up with polycarbonate.
Aquí que se ve, la terraza tiene 3 metros de altura y aquí son los pepinos.
This place is 3 meters high, and he's got pepinos, no me acuerdo ahora, ¿no? The cucumbers, I think.
Yes.
Y también se puede ver las eprubetas con gans que están puesto arriba.
You could see some veils hanging up top with some gans.
En la izquierda hay soportes para deshidratar plantas y frutas,
And
verduras.
up top, he has some containers for dehydrating different fruits.
Hay muchísimas flores,
A lot of flowers.
pero también como se puede ver aquí, eso que está más o menos en la izquierda, es una planta que tiene muchas calidades para curar varias cosas.
These plants on the left have many curing properties. ¿Qué superficie tiene Nico de tierra?
Nico tiene el oasis, en el oasis y con toda la casa, con todo tiene 1000 metros cuadrados.
Nico has 1,000 square meters of land where a house is built and this oasis. So it's not all as big as Ursula's. Ursula has 7,200 square meters, which is about 3/4 of a hectare. This is
La
about a
terraza,
10th of a hectare.
la,
Sí,
la terraza, la terraza tiene 18 metros cuadrados.
¿Qué llamas traza?
Terraza,
Ah, terraza. That would be oh my, translating,
Earth,
going down the drain. She's got
something
an
about Earth,
pardon?
something about Earth.
No, she's got an overhanging shed, which is 18 square meters.
aquí John tiene 6 metros de largo, 6,3 metros, 18 metros cuadrados. En la
This
terraza.
is, yeah, this place is 6 by 3 meters. They
Ya,
plant a hell of a lot of plants in a very small bit of land. It's a
And-
jungle.
And they all look happy.
Yep.
aquí es afuera y hay plantas que también han alcanzado más de 3 metros.
This is outside the winter shed, and they're over 3 meters high. Esto es tomate cherry, me imagino.
Sí, esto es un video que es,
Fine.
hemos pasado en el oasis de Jetayjani, donde estamos ahora. Pero los vídeos lo voy a poner un poquito más adelante porque lo quiero hacer en vivo.
Sí, explicaron. These are videos he took at his place, but he'll show us the whole videos later on. Just showing us some pictures.
Aquí son en el invernadero.
Estos no eran tomates, ¿no? ¿Eran berenjenas o qué eran?
No, estos son tomates, John.
Ah, tomatoes. These are tomatoes. Yeah. You could see some overhanging coils up top.
Yes.
He hangs a hell of a lot of coils and infinites and what have you. Different types of tomatoes and other plants.
Aquí son un tipo de tomate muy grandes.
Yeah, this big tomato is nearly 1 kilogram. So imagine the size of it.
Eso es el sol que le tenemos dentro.
This is the sun he has hanging up in the middle of a place. And some coils hanging all over the place.
Estos son berenjena.
These are eggplants. Some funny types of eggplants. They look like tomatoes, don't they?
También vamos a ver los flores que tienen.
We'll see all the different flowers they have or they shed.
No sé cuántos kilos hemos cogido de tomates porque no hemos hecho siempre, porque como regalamos y todo eso, no he medido, pero por ahora como doble del año pasado.
I have no idea of how many kilograms of tomatoes we've produced this year, but we've produced over double of what we had last year. And he's been experimenting with plasma for the last year and a few months. He's been experimenting the oasis for over 10 years.
Aquí son las gatitas.
These
Una
are
parte
small little cats.
Aquí es una foto que he hecho cuando han reiniciado Rick. Esa han hecho hoy.
Esta foto la sacaste hoy.
Sí, en el momento cuando hemos
Ajá.
hablado fue el reinicio.
He took this picture when our Zoom went dead, just a while ago.
En la izquierda y la derecha, bueno, los vecinos ya acabaron con lo que han cultivado solo.
My neighbors have got rid of all the plants they had planted. They've cleaned the land. And mine is a forest of plants. What a difference, no?
También voy a subir otra vez para mostrar en vivo.
He will go over to the oasis to show us on live also.
Aquí donde se ve en la derecha y hay una línea de palos de bambú con probetas, infinitos y otros dispositivos.
These canes he puts up with some veils and different coils hanging up top.
That's vials, John.
Yeah, veils, yeah, vials, you're right.
Vials. Yeah, yeah.
Ok, voy a...
We are behind the veils.
Voy a
It's
hacer...
funny, when I was young, I used to call them veils because I just thought the letters were transposed somehow when I read it. And I had a hard time shaking that one.
Have you read Helena Blavatsky, Behind the Veils?
Yeah, I've in the past, I've familiarized myself with that. Yeah.
Now, this is the conventional way of feeding. We're moving into a new dimension of feeding, which I'm not completely understanding yet, but we're calling it a 9G and a 10G.
Ok, voy a voy a abrir mi cámara video.
He'll
Porque
open his video camera to show us live.
Okay, I'll probably have to allow that here. There we go.
It's just daybreak there, yeah?
Romania.
¿Me puede
Yeah.
ver, sí?
Sí, sí, perfectamente.
A ver si...
Te peleaste con el peine.
Ah, sí.
He's fought with his comb.
Esto es la zona.
Está asomando el sol.
Sí.
Sun is rising.
John, ¿cómo se ve mejor? ¿Así o así?
Así mejor, se ve más grande.
Ok.
Los vecinos, ¿qué te consideran? ¿Un loco lindo?
Sí. Ya lo sabes que también tú tienes vecinos, ¿no?
Sí. His neighbors think he's nuts. And he said that my neighbors also think I'm nuts. But that's what the people think of us.
Does Gianni get snow in that region?
Vos te nieva ahí, ¿no? Gianni.
Sí, sí.
Yes, he does. He has up to 18 degrees below zero there. He's 1,800 meters up over sea level.
Ok, aquí cuando me voy a acercar, las plantas tienen mucha agua y un poquito más adelante ya está seco. Bueno, se puede ver la tierra está seca.
So you can see that at his place, the plants have a lot of water, but further on, it's pretty dry. He sort of has an oasis of water
Y John,
helping him out with the plants.
Esos son los paneles que utilizo para la luz. Tengo 3.
He's got some photovoltaic panels there.
Sí, son pequeños, unos, no sé, 15 con 25.
Ah, he's got very small panels for his Wi-Fi, because he doesn't use any electric current at his place or any fire. He cooks
Y aquí-
everything raw.
Y aquí es un cable de internet
This is an internet cable, Wi-Fi.
y la red de luz está afuera del sitio y no estamos conectados. a
Sí,
los-
ya les comenté, sí.
Ajá.
He's got no electric connection.
Ok, voy a hacer stop share porque voy a bajar.
He's going to stop sharing because he's going at floor level.
Y voy a entrar en el invernadero.
He'll show us our winter garden. That noise is my mate.
I have to admit the lushness of Johnny's garden and his whole land area is quite amazing compared to the rest of the environment there.
Yeah.
You can see it's quite a dry sort of almost barren up in the hills.
He waters with a hose, or does he water with a bucket by hand?
We'll ask him, but
He doesn't water very much. I think he waters like once a week or a small amount to each plant.
yeah, about a liter a week. Están preguntando cuánta agua le das a las plantas. Vos le das como 1 litro por semana, ¿no? A cada planta.
Sí, ahora fueron, como hemos salido, fueron 2 semanas cuando no hemos puesto agua.
I've been away for the last 2 weeks and we haven't watered the plants at all.
Y ya estamos en el invernadero. Aquí hay las berenjenas.
These are the eggplants. I'm showing you the winter garden.
Y se ha roto la folia y tengo que pegarla. Oh,
He has to fix this place up. You can see he's got a coil hang up top. That gives him the special atmosphere.
aquí es laurel.
I don't know if in English is it laurel? No. It's
Las hojas
you put that
son
into your food, yeah.
aromáticas.
Maybe
Aquí
basil.
también.
Yeah, maybe. You normally put the whole leaf into food for cooking.
Aquí son botes con aquaplasma.
These are small vials with Gans water.
Mira, son rojas, también hay verdes, pequeñas, que continúan a crecer.
There are different colored eggplants.
Ya, aquí son los cherry.
Here we got some cherry tomatoes.
Y aquí abajo empieza a secarse las hojas, pero también empiezan a salir otras.
You can see some of the leaves are drying off, but new ones are cropping up. El policarbonato ese, ya ni parecería más de 3/10 de milímetro, no 3 milímetros, ¿eh? No tenemos tu audio, Gianni, ¿eh? No te estamos escuchando.
Ahora sí.
Ay, sí, ahora te recuperamos. Yo te decía que el policarbonato parecería 3/10, no 3 milímetros.
Pero el policarbonato solo es en la terraza de Nico. Aquí, John, hay plásticos de 003 que se utilizan en la
3 centésimas de milímetro. Yeah. This is
Sí.
300ths of a millimeter thick plastic, which is used in construction works.
Y como he dicho, en esta zona no está cerrada, está
And it's
libre.
not closed here.
Así.
It's not hermetic. Yeah.
Aquí los reactores de CO2 con sal de magnesio.
It's got some reactors with magnesium salts.
Y aquí tomate, y me encanta como hay rojas, hay verdes, empezando de abajo, y ya hemos recogido un montón.
Here you can see the tomatoes. You got green and red tomatoes all mixed up, and we have picked many a lot of tomatoes already. Te hemos perdido, Gianni.
A ver.
El audio está. Perdimos la filmación.
Un momento. ¿Me escuchan?
Sí.
A ver, que no sé cómo volver al vídeo. Un momento.
I don't know how to go back to the video.
Ahora sí.
Todavía no ha llegado, por lo menos aquí.
Ahora sí.
Todavía no.
¿No?
Faltará compartir.
Un momento. Entonces.
Gianni, you want to share in camera or video?
Video. No, es cámara. Done.
Vicino al closer from microphone.
Sí, ya lo sé qué pasó.
I already know what has happened.
John, voy a salir y voy a entrar otra vez. ¿De acuerdo? Tarda
Fenómeno. He'll be dropping out and coming in again. He's got some problems.
I noted you're listed twice there, John. Do you have two systems hooked up?
Yep.
Okay.
I've got two screens, but on two different machines. I normally have the live stream, but as Rick took a long time to put the live stream up, I hooked up to the a secondary Zoom.
Dean has his hand up.
Yep.
Come
Hello,
in,
Dean.
Come in, Dean. Over.
Hello. How is my microphone?
A
Fine.
little
It's
distant.
a bit wavy.
Okay. Am I able to be heard though?
Gianni is on the line as well, so I think there's some interference there.
I
But go
think
ahead.
Gianni's just finishing up, Dean.
Okay.
Okay, we
Okay.
see Gianni's video here. So let me get
Sí,
that
te vemos,
spotlighted.
Gianni.
Eso quería mostrar los tomates que están abajo, pero también hay rojos, hay verdes y que empiezan a cocerse.
Yeah, I'm showing you the tomatoes right by the earth. You got green and red tomatoes,
Varios tipos.
different types of tomatoes.
Aquí está el sol.
¿Ese último es tomate también?
Sí, eso
Sí, parece chouchou.
es tomate, pero aquí
Ajá.
tenemos 12 especies de tomates.
Ah, this is a different type of tomato.
Sí, y mira. Aquí está el sol.
This is my son.
Aquí otro tipo de tomate.
Ese
Eso es
que pesa casi un kilo.
sí.
This is nearly 1 kilogram of tomato. Enough for two, for a
Y
whole dressing.
cerca las berenjenas que parecen tomates.
And these are eggplants that look like tomatoes.
Y aquí hay Dan Busiok. No me acuerdo. Es una planta aromática, John.
Ah, romántica, ¿qué? Te levanta el ánimo. Ah, aromática. Aromatic plant. You can't remember the name.
Aquí son probetas con CO2 que están en la tierra.
He's got some vials with CO2 in the earth.
Y aquí hay una hierba que se llama la barba del oso.
These plants are called the bear's beard.
O también en otros sitios se llama la cola del caballo.
They also, sí, acá se llama así. They also call it the horse's tail. Here they call it with that name.
Y mira en la misma planta como arriba a los 2 metros, ¿lo ves?
Yeah, and you can see this 2 meters high.
Las flores.
The flowers.
Aquí otra especie.
This is another type.
Aquí los reactores de CH3 y el óxido de cobre.
Yeah, you got copper oxide and CH3 reactors. Eso sí que lo podés llamar una selva o así, ¿no?
Sí, verdad.
You can call this selva. What is it?
jungle.
Jungle, yeah. Oasis,
Aquí
jungle oasis.
otra especie. Y el Gans, desde H3 arriba. Aquí otros son otros tomates que son amarillas.
Amarillento.
Sí.
These are yellow tomatoes.
Pero mira, aquí están amarillas, aquí están de otro color, ¿lo ves?
Yeah, you've got it yellow, and this is same tomato, but with another color.
Aquí tenemos algunas bobinas que hemos apagado unos reactores.
These are some coils I've used in different reactors.
Sí. Eso es una imagen con todo. Abajo son cubos con agua.
Here you got some buckets with some water. Gans water?
Y aquí hay miel con frutas para hacer sirope.
Uh-huh.
Dulce.
Here you got some honey with different fruits to make some syrup.
Los tanques de 1000 litros. Aquí tenemos dos.
1,000 water tanks.
Y aquí está preparado con plantas para la construcción que voy a hacer. Porque aquí todo lo que es provisorio.
This is my home is provisorio. Pucha, mi traducción está pobre.
Province?
Yeah, provisory.
Yes, yes.
And he's gonna build a more stable home just by that place where he's got those water tanks for the construction.
Temporary, I
Porque
think you're looking for.
voy a construir un domo, como he dicho.
He's gonna make a dome.
Y preparo todos los elementos que al final lo voy a hacer de madera sin ningún metal. Madera y
Ajá.
policarbonato compacto.
This dome he's gonna make out of wood and polycarbonate, no steel.
Eso es el dragón de que hemos hablado el miércoles pasado.
Yeah, this is his dragon, his car.
Y aquí en todos los lados tengo materiales para lo que voy a hacer.
He's got a hell of a lot of different materials for his construction.
Y aquí es el remolque de lo que he dicho.
And this is his trailer. He tows behind his truck.
Y fui el remolque lo he mandado en Austria.
¿Lo mandado, lo hiciste hacer o dónde?
Sí, le he hecho el proyecto y le he comprado porque lo he hecho para el dragón.
Aha, he had this constructed in Austria for his dragon.
Y me costó el remolque cuando me costó el coche, el dragón.
The trailer cost him as much as the dragon.
Sí, pues, porque no quería subir de la altura del dragón y para también poder llevar lo que quiero. Y también hacer una casa dentro.
He wants to use it as a living in trailer, and it had the same height as his dragon, so he had it specially made.
Ok, eso es para hoy y gracias por poder compartir.
This is all my show right now. Thank you for sharing my videos and pictures.
Y si hay preguntas, con mucho gusto voy a responder. Gracias.
If you got any questions, just shoot.
I was thinking we can get him a white lab coat with the Keshe logo embroidered on the left pocket. And then his neighbors, because he's got agriculture, but he has plasma, so we call it plasma culture. He can just point to the symbol on his lab coat.
He looked like this film about the car going off. I forget the name of this film. The old bloke with a young chap years ago.
I don't
That
recall
went
that.
That went with that stainless steel car that went through the time travel.
The DeLorean?
Exactly.
Back to the Future.
That's with it. Yeah. Gianni, te vamos a hacer un sobre todo como el volver al futuro con el logo del Keshe Foundation.
Ok, y quería decir que ya empezando con el año que viene, voy a cambiar los invernaderos, los vamos a hacer domo, de tipo domo.
Uh-huh. Next year, I'll change my winter gardens in a dome shape.
Y eso también quería compartirlo con Úrsula en el Oasis Provence, hacer los domos con bambú o caña, muy sencillos se hacen.
Yeah, he also wants to build them there at Ursula's place with bamboo canes. It's very simple to make them.
Does he expect to grow things year round in that climate?
He does. Pregunta Mark si esperás plantar todo el año, tener plantas todo el año.
Para nosotros no es necesario, John, pero hay muchos que sí necesitan. Y entonces sí, eso es la intención.
Yes, we have our plants are all year round, and the intention is to have all year round plants. For many, this doesn't happen, but his oasis works this way.
Y también aquí vamos a hacer la casa, un domo pequeño dentro de un domo más grande.
He'll also build a smaller dome inside a bigger one at his place. He's been teaching this oasis system for over 10 years right now. And he's worked with the plasma for the last year and a half.
You said he had the ability, and he showed us before about his house, you were telling me, or you told us.
Yeah, about the
Oh.
temperature. Yeah.
Yes, that maybe he'd like to just share a bit about that, because that without windows, it's just amazing.
Gianni, ahí Mark pregunta si nos podés hablar un poco de tu efecto invernadero en la casa, es decir, sin usar calefacción y teniendo la ventana abierta, ¿cómo es que lográs tener la temperatura ambiente por dentro?
Pues, John, podemos hacerlo porque tengo que ir en el laboratorio y si hacéis presentaciones vosotros, cuando llegamos en el laboratorio, lo vamos a hacer en vivo en el mismo sitio.
Fine. This system he has at his lab, which is not just there, So if we present something else, he'll go over to the lab and then afterwards he can talk and show us what he's done there.
¿De acuerdo?
Are you
Well,
okay with this? Yes.
Well-
Have you something else to tell us, Mark?
no, I just wanted to say, while he's setting that up, if Rick is okay with Rick, I mean, Dean wants to
Yeah.
have some words here.
Sure, that'd be great.
Hello, how's my mic?
It's coming through. Keep trying there.
Okay. I
It's a
have a
bit
question.
loud, I think.
A
It's
little
bit-
loud? Is
yeah,
this all?
It's a bit hot, like you're either too close or it's turned up a bit too much, but it's better than before.
Okay. Okay.
We
I
can
have
hear
a
you
question.
clearly. Thank you.
Okay. I have a question and I'm going to give you a scenario. I have a well, or there are many wells, and they run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they pump out 400 gallons of water per minute. And there's a challenge with the wells, and that's that there's a slime that grows in them, a biological entity. And this biological entity clogs the stainless steel pipes that go down into the aquifer and draw the water. Now, a shallow well will be like 400 feet deep. A regular well will go down 1,200, 1,400 feet. And we're talking about a lot of water, 400 gallons a minute. But what happens is this gooey stuff, okay, you can kill it with bleach or ionization of water, but you can't.
Hello? Hello, Dean? We lost you at you can't something.
Okay. The size of the pipes, you know, I could jump down the pipe and slide all the way down, 400 or 1,200 feet. And the pipes are stainless steel and they're perforated, and round the circumference of the pipe are stone. And then the water seeps in through the pipes, but because of the stuff that grows in the water, it plugs up the wells. And so over a period of time, you'll lose 20, 30, 40, 50% of the water that can be drawn out of the wells, and then they have to cap them and then go move on.
Excuse me, Dean, are you typing on something at the same time or clicking on your screen or something there?
No,
There's a
no, it's okay. I guess
there's
it's
something
my
coming.
phone.
It's coming through as a loud clicking regularly, and it's hard to listen to you with the noise coming through. Can you do anything about that, or just carry on?
Yeah, I have to tomorrow. I have to get a new phone. Okay. I guess this conversation can't go on today. I just wanted to at least put it out in my wish that I wish to have something that can come about to alleviate the challenge of having to cap off wells and then re-drill wells. And so I'm just going to put that as my wish today. I'm going to have to get a new phone. So
So
peace,
that was
everybody.
that was specifically about the slime situation that builds up. Is that what you're saying? This is it a green slime sort of deal?
Well, have you ever had like a humidifier and that slime that gets into the water?
Well,
And
there's sort of there's a white sort of residue that can build up, sort of a salty looking thing, but it can be really hard and crusty. Or do you mean more of a green slimy stuff that's living algae growth?
it's sort of an algae, and you're going down, you can go down 1,200, 1,400 feet. But what happens is as it dies, it clogs the wells. So you have these, huge investment of wells, and they get clogged by a biological agent, and that agent becomes so hard that there's no way to dislodge it from the wells, from the casings, the steel casing. And there's got to be a way of either preventing it or mining it's like a mycelial mat when it dries, right? It's hard as steel. It renders the wells, or the ability to get water, it shuts it down. And this is not just a problem where I live, it's a problem everywhere. And so it's a systemic problem with the ability to pump massive quantities of water that gets hindered by a biological agent that sets up almost a biological steel upon the steel that encompasses the well, that allows the water to penetrate. So it's
So you're suggesting that someone might have a plasmatic solution for this, some sort of process that might work.
Dean, haven't you tried putting some ganses down the well?
I think his connection is
Yeah, it's pretty
spotty, as they say.
Yep.
Would copper oxide, and I know that's toxic, yeah, in a larger amount.
Yeah, but if you have CO2 and zinc oxide in a nice quantity put down the well, that should help, maybe. And maybe some sodium bicarbonate also to alkalinize the water a bit.
There's something now that's come out that might work, which is also interesting, which is nanobubbles, which is beyond micro bubbles into nano, which is the bubbles of air are so small that they form like a cloudiness, a milkiness to the water, and it doesn't go away for days or weeks compared to normal bubbles that you can make water look bubbly, and then the bubbles go to the surface and it's clear in less than a minute, say, normally.
Yeah, that maybe do.
But nanobubbles invigorate that water. They have a special charge to them, and they can attach to different entities and bacteria and so on. And it's an amazing disinfectant, as well as it's really good for growth for plants. But so it's selective, that it tends to deter smaller bacteria and viruses, but at the same time be beneficial for life forms.
Yeah, with like you have in the fishing tanks, those microbubbles, and also may have to try out with some ozone in those microbubbles. That may be towards it or against this stuff that grows there.
Mm-hmm.
Ozone has a cleaning effect also. It'll always be cheaper than re-boring a well.
Yes, well, boring can be quite expensive. True. Okay, so what else do we have that we can fill in while we wait? I think Johnny's going to be back a bit later, correct?
Yes,
Yep.
Rick.
Do we have any questions or anything that somebody would like to bring up and something for us to work with here? We have a new participant that just came in. Maybe he'll have something to say. He's known as Jumpin' Jalal. Do you want to jump in, Jalal? He'll bring things back to our higher goals here. He may not be able to unmute right now as well. Okay, anybody else like to intervene?
What I can add is here we got the aquifer, which is renowned here in my zone, which is the northern part of northeast part of Argentina and southern Brazil, which is the Patagonia, the Amazonian aquifer here. We've got about 5,000 feet wells drilled down there. And the water comes out at about 50 degrees centigrade. The name of the aquifer is called as Guarani. The Aboriginal Indians here called Guaranis. They got their own language.
Hi, Rick. Hi, John. Hi, everyone.
Hello, Jalal.
Hello,
Hi.
Jalal.
Sorry, Rick. I heard you, but I have a little bit work here. So
Yeah.
I have a
That's-
question.
Mhm.
Can someone teach us how to make nano molecular
To make what? Nanos what? What do you mean nanos?
nanoplasma?
Nano material,
Yeah.
not in a matter state, but in a GANs state, I imagine.
Yeah. Did anyone done it?
Well, I've dried CO2, and you've got to sort of crush it up because it's not all that nano, but we can consider it nano state.
No. This is dry gas. This is not nano.
You're right there.
Mm-hmm. I've done made black nano powder essentially, but it's like a black cloud that forms in the the blue, if you use vinegar and salt, for example, with copper, you'll get this blue liquid that forms pretty quickly.
Yeah.
If you let the copper sit in there for a while, you get a thick blue liquid. And if you take a spray container with caustic in it and spray it on top of that blue liquid of the vinegar substance, you'll get droplets of black substance forms in that blue. And not droplets, but it's like very, very fine black nanomaterial forms. And that would be copper, CuO or CuO2, I forget which, that forms from that process. And the blue liquid that was there will turn clear, indicating that the copper is now gone from it. And you'll be left with this residual black stuff at the bottom that you can wash out and retain as a really, really fine black powder.
Did
Is that what you
work?
mean, or are
Yeah,
you talking
yeah.
about something totally
No,
different?
no, yes, yes. But this is one method of it.
Yeah, there's several.
Yeah,
There's another of scraping, you know, you
Yeah.
can, that's, it's kind of chunky, let's say. It's, if you look under a microscope, you wouldn't see regular particles. You would see a bunch of chunks, basically.
Yeah, it is. Did you work with them? All the three state of plasma, Rick.
Work with them, what do you mean? Which three states of plasma?
The liquid and dried and nano.
Well, I've used them in different reactors and different situations. Yeah, I have samples of dried GANs and nano powder and stuff like that. Tried them in different reactors and whatnot.
Jalal.
What are you getting to, Jalal? What do you need to know? What is it what's the what's behind what you're asking here?
Okay. If you look, we have three state of plasma. If we worked with any one of them, we will notice if this is gravitational or magnetical, or it is pulling or it's pushing, or giving. That's what I'm concerned. You understand my question?
Whether it's giving or taking or that
Let,
sort of thing.
let's say the plasma in the normal state, liquid plasma, let's say CO2 in its original liquid plasma, is giving and taking. When it's become dry, when you put a dry CO2, what is the situation here? Or you go to the nano, what's the situation? Because if you see your three state of your plasma, let's say your
Jalal,
yeah,
we would have to define, because if you got hydrated plasma, which is liquid plasma, it's a mixture of water and nano. Now, if you dried it up, you got nano, but it's not another state. One is hydrated because it's diluted in water, and the other one is dry. Or am I?
you have GANs. Maybe there is a little bit of nano in it, but you have GANs. When you dry it, what you done? When it is in liquid state, what is the situation there? They have more freedom.
Freedom is the word. Yes, exactly.
When you dry it,
It's
what will happen?
powder. It's a
Yeah.
powder. Yeah.
You have
I-
less degrees of freedom. It's
Yeah,
it's
less
more
degrees of freedom.
constricted. It's more compacted.
But
Can-
when you have dry, nano, this is the third state of plasma.
Well, if it were a very fine nano, it should sort of float in the air a bit, shouldn't it? It'd be like some very fine powder.
Well,
This
that's
is-
one of the problems of the fine powders is the finer it gets, the more dangerous it gets, as we discussed last week, I think.
Yeah.
In terms of even flour can be explosive, or I gave the example of icing sugar because I worked in the lab of a sugar refinery for a year. And they have a special room with the icing sugar because it's so fine that it becomes explosive.
Yeah. But you've also got the plants liberate the spores, which are very fine also.
how many levels your skin have?
3.
Okay. I will hear you guys. There is a lot of sound here.
Okay.
Didn't Mr. Keshe say recently when he was complimenting the knowledge seekers on their knowledge of plasma science that it was past, let's say, Stanford or Cambridge or so on, where the where the common thing in science now, what they're all excited about is nano. And he was saying that we went past that where we made, what did he say? We Gantt the nano. I wasn't sure about that. What he
Well,
meant.
the idea being that there's the matter state, then there's the nano state, which is a higher level of the matter state. If you look at shiny copper as the matter state, and then the black copper as the nano state, where the atoms are more free, and then you get into the GANs and they're more free again, like Jalal was saying. And so they have like more degrees of freedom at you could imagine a GANs particle in a liquid moving around and able to move to find its position anywhere in that container, wherever it's finds itself most happy or most where the forces all balance. And whereas if you that's like the different levels. Mr. Keshe even talked about it as different levels of understanding at one point. The matter level, the GANs, the nano, the GANs, and then there's the plasma level, which is the next level beyond the GANs level. But even though there may be plasma in among the nano layers or plasma in the nano materials, or sorry, the GANs materials, the plasmas in the next level up, if it's a different perspective. So
I just had never heard that Gantt the nano. I could be wrong.
Imagine making hydrogen GANs or hydrogen nano. If when you have hydrogen in a tube, it's very difficult because hydrogen sort of seeps through steel. Imagine the nano hydrogen would have to be held back with something else because that would seep through just about anything.
that's probably why it's very, very rare. Instantly shoots through the atmosphere heading towards space. So you think about it, think of helium balloon, that goes up pretty quick. Hydrogen balloon would, I think, go
Yeah,
up
but
a
the
little
thing is, how could you
faster. But
how
what if
can
it
you
was a
contain?
nano? Well, yeah, that's the thing. It would pass something.
I am
small.
teasing you to come to my
Yeah.
teaching today.
Good, because in a
Okay.
hydrogen balloon, you got that problem. The hydrogen ends up seeping through the balloon.
Yeah, I think actually the helium is smaller than the hydrogen as an atom for some reason. It's I think it's the bond between the hydrogen and the H2 makes it bigger than the helium, which is a single atom, single single atom.
We got to get
Hydrogen
down
is a
to
molecule.
experimenting in labs. We got to have our own labs and start experimenting with all these things.
Well, if you look up the helium they use as the leak detector because it gets through, like
Just
in a
about anything.
vacuum system or whatever. If you trying to find a really minuscule leak, then you can detect it with a helium tracer gas and the leak detector to trace very small amounts of helium that seep through the gaskets or whatever. But that's all on the matter level, and I think Jalal is wants to take us to a different level with all that.
Could you hold it with a magnetic field?
Hold which?
What did you say? Hydrogen just goes through everything?
Well, John, I think, was talking about this GANs of hydrogen, which is the idea being it would be very, very tiny, I suppose. And there are types of hydrogen, what do you call it, worked with, I think they call them hydrides, and they're essentially smaller, lower energy levels of hydrogen. Lower than we normally account for.
Wasn't it you, Rick, who said in the past that every square meter in space has at least one atom of hydrogen, or was it something else?
Well, that was from Mr. Keshe originally. Every cubic meter, if you think of a meter cube of space, and this is what the scientists have determined as well, there's at least one atom of hydrogen in a typical space. Typically, there might be 3 or 4, or in that kind of range, in what they call the vacuum of space. And Mr. Keshe's point was that even if there's one hydrogen in that cubic meter in the vacuum of space, that single hydrogen, the fields of that single hydrogen atom will expand out to that meter. In other words, if one hydrogen expands out, it has its fields that reach to fill that cubic meter, and there's one beside it and one beside that, and they're all interacting. They're all of the hydrogens of the universe are linked together essentially. You push one, it's going to influence the others, and it's like a big cosmic soup of hydrogen soup. And now they're finding all kinds of interesting things in that soup. In fact, that brings up an article I'd like to bring up. Thank you for the segue. And
so how is it held in space, the hydrogen in a vacuum?
Well,
it's just there.
It's just there. It's a gas, but it's basically just atoms of hydrogen out in space. They're not. It's generally atomic hydrogen rather than molecular hydrogen. So instead of being the H2 that we know of on Earth, it'll be the H, and it usually has a charge on it as well. So it actually ends up being a proton and an electron somewhere. But basically, it can be a charged particle, a charged proton is hydrogen.
And I don't know if you noticed earlier, Rick, Laurent had his hand up.
No, I didn't notice that. Let me just browse through this article I've got set up here, and I'm sure Lawrence will have something to say about all of that, but this kind of ties into what we were just talking about. So this is an article in phys.org, came out yesterday or a few days ago. It's called Life's Building Blocks May Have Formed in Interstellar Clouds. And so this experiment that they did in an ultra high vacuum reaction chamber, here we go. The ultra high vacuum reaction chamber that simulates chemical reactions in an interstellar cloud environment. Credit Hokkaido University. Okay, get the glow of the plasma thing there. And they mentioned that one of the basic units of life that they did with this experiment, nucleobases, could have originated within the giant gas clouds interspersed between the stars. Essential building blocks of DNA, compounds called nucleobases, have been detected for the first time in a simulated environment, mimicking gaseous clouds that are found interspersed between stars. The finding, published in the journal Nature Communications, brings us closer to understanding the origins of life on Earth. And they go on to say this result could be the key to unraveling fundamental questions for humankind, such as what organic compounds existed during the formation of the solar system and how they contributed to the birth of life on Earth. And so it goes on to say that these molecules may have come from meteorite impacts and from other than in our solar system and dropped in life here. And so they're trying to understand how these basic units of DNA and RNA, how they work and how they can be created in a environment. And it's composed of this nucleobase, a sugar, and a phosphate group. That's the basic structural unit of DNA and RNA, which is a nucleotide. I'm just kind of learning this because I'm not an advanced or even basic in the RNA and DNA stuff, but bear with me here. So they've created this simulated interstellar cloud environment using a gaseous mixture of water, carbon monoxide, ammonia, and methanol. And they put it into a temperature of minus 263 degrees Celsius, as in space. Now, this is where Lawrence comes in. They mention they use 2 deuterium discharge lamps attached to the chamber, which supplied the ultraviolet light that induces the chemical reactions. Now, we talked about this last week, that how important the ultraviolet light is. And I'm sure Lawrence is just ready to say something about that. I'm hoping it's going to come in a minute here, but I just want to get through this. So that process led to the formation of what they call an icy film on the dust analog inside the chamber. So now they have this dusty film forming in this vacuum chamber. So then they warm that up and they detect the presence of these nucleobases, the cytosine, uracil, thiamine, adenine, xanthine, and hypoxanthine. They also detected amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins, and several kinds of dipeptides, and so on. So basically, they have created these amino acids in a vacuum chamber very similar to what the conditions would be in space. So I think that's pretty cool. And it's something that's not out of range for experimenters that might be playing with the ganses and other materials as well. So, what do you think about
But
that?
I think we're talking here about different ranges of dimension, because if we got a vacuum, if you only have one atom of hydrogen in a square meter, you can't have RNA or DNA because that's composed of several thousand molecules of other material.
Yes, but the thing is, the only thing they've been able to detect out in space is certain kinds of hydrogen, because that's the signature that they have for. They've only, for example, they only a few months ago discovered carbon in the form of buckyballs or Buckminster fullerene, which is
The C60, yeah.
C60 form of carbon out in space, and it's actually quite prevalent, and it actually has a charge on it because of the cosmic rays that hit it all the time and so on. It knocks off the electrons and it becomes a charged particle, and all of a sudden it can get together with other particles that way and form amino acids and other such things. So now they're starting to discover that there's way more out there in these interstellar clouds than what they suspected before. Now, the whole thing about the hydrogen, also the 1 per cubic meter, that's in all of space, not just in the what they call the dusty clouds. The dusty clouds have much higher concentrations of a number of different elements, and you could have heavy elements and that kind of thing in these what they call these dusty clouds. But they haven't really been able to mimic it and actually create from what they suspect would be forming out in space, which is really dependent on the presence of all these things, but also in very much upon the presence of that where they have it here.
Rick, we've also got to analyze.
Ultraviolet.
Yeah. We've got to analyze what are cosmic rays, because if we haven't got light going through space, but we have magnetic rays, what is a cosmic ray?
And they also have the ultraviolet rays, because there's lots of deuterium in space. Because most of
Fine, but what is an ultraviolet? When it hits some matter state, if not, we have a magnetic ray, because there is no light ray. Light ray is a magnetic ray.
Well, you could call a gamma ray a magnetic ray. You could call this electromagnetic spectrum, and it's a whole spectrum of potencies or field strengths of these rays, because some are have a lot more energy behind them than others, depending. That's
Well,
what,
you got different fields within the magnetic ray. We've got to reread the second book, Structure Light, and start analyzing all this.
Hello, this is Lawrence. Good morning.
Hi,
good evening.
Lawrence. I thought you might want to come in here.
How do you do? I think John is totally right. I think Rick is totally right. I think this experiment proves and underlines how we get fat on top of the CO2 kit. It's a light source, a magnetic source, if you want to call it like this, John, which emits magnetic fields. When we emit magnetic fields, we have a state that I would call light. Any magnetic field that is in its traveling mode is what the second book calls light. And the first book.
And what would be the source of that you just mentioned?
In this case, it's, for example, the deuterium lamp. In our case, when we have the CO2 kit, it's the nanocoating and the fields of deuterium that we have on top of the nanocoated copper.
Right, I gotcha. Okay.
In our human body, we have multiple sources of UV light. For example, our blood is a UV emitter too.
Yes, the scientists are just discovering this, that there's certain, there's some of the isotopes that are giving off UV light at certain times, and it's very essential to some of the processes going on.
Yes, and the reason why it is essential is because light is the source of creation. We have, whenever we have a light source and another light source, this Michael Zumori experiment, which Mr. Keshe and the journal has been explaining about, when we have two light sources and the two light sources hit on each other with the proper lights, I mean, like not with this very small band lights that we use presently in our current society, but if you have a broadband spectrum light, like for example, the deuterium strength fields on the nanocoating, or for example, you have a sun or you have your soul, and you have two of these lights shining on each other, wherever they hit, then the teachings of book number 1 come in play, that the fields, different strengths fields, entangle each other and they form matters. So when you have two deuterium lamp sources or two deuterium sources which have a broadband light spectrum emission, then when you shine them onto each other, you get matter in the middle. It's this conversion of energies, light, into matter, that's the basis of creation. That's the plasma technology that we are talking about and that we're learning about. So if we want to solve the question of this water pump that the gentleman earlier asked about, I think just shut off the pump and use plasma technology. Put out ganses in the fields and you don't have to water anything, because out of those fields that the ganses emit, because these ganses are also broad spectrum light emitters, that's what we call them, stars, you get an interaction, and through the interaction, the plants and all the other living beings in their environment create whatever they need, because they themselves are stars too. So that's the way the universe works, according to Mr. Keshe's plasma teachings. You just need stars to work with and through each other to create whatever they need at the point of need. You don't need to pump, you don't need to kill, you don't need to do anything about it. Just create the conditions. for stars to shine. You want to go back to this research article with the UV lights, Rick?
To which again?
You're the one that you're showing right now. I think it's exactly the same process that is being described here in this research article, just with a little, more fanciness, as the Michael-Zamori experiment. With the Michael-Zamori experiment, they had two mirrors, and the mirrors were aligned so they split the beam, and then in the center you had these striped things. And here you have two deuterium sources. But in the end, you create the conditions for matter to appear. Do you get what I mean?
I hadn't thought about it before, about why why they mentioned two lamps, huh? So you're saying, I see, you're saying that the two light sources form a diffraction pattern, basically. Is that what you mean?
Yes, exactly. And that diffraction pattern, what you call diffraction pattern, is a source of entanglement for those magnetic rays. And through the entanglement, they create matters. That's why we have the fat on top of the CO2 box. And this is why they explain about whatever amino acids or whatever molecules they're talking that appeared in that vacuum that they earlier created. They had an empty space. They had no contaminations inside. It was a clean reactor. And then through the interaction of those UV lights, the wide spectrum light sources, they achieved the same result as we have with the Peter Zalocher experiment with the rotating reactor. Each reactor, we didn't see it because you can't see outside of the spectrum of what your eyes can see. But each reactor is because of its GaNs filling, is a broad spectrum light emitter, just like any star, just like our soul. And just like stars, through their emission of light or magnetic rays, if we use the second book's wording, through the interaction of those rays, matters are created. We've been doing it all the time. It's just if it clicks that it's too simple to be true. You get what I mean? Just by having the nano coating with the first interaction that we've been doing through the coppers, because the copper is in its isotope strengths, in its stable isotopes, we have 64 and then 66, if I remember correctly, or 63 and 65. The difference is 2 neutrons. So basically, anytime when we were nano coating, we were already creating the plasmatic strengths of deuterium on top of the nano-coated copper. So the nano-coated copper can also be called a deuterium lamp, a deuterium source. And since the first experiment that we've been doing, since the first nano-coating we've been doing, because of the use of isotopes that have a difference of the energy level ganses, we are already in the business of creating UV light sources or wide spectrum light sources, magnetic field sources. And we've been playing with these magnetic fields and their emissions and creating matters out of light since the very first experiment we've been doing.
I would add also, you got your soul emits a field, and you got the universal fields where they interact if your intention is to interact with those fields, you'll create matter. That's how you can materialize something through your soul.
Exactly. This is where the whole teaching goes into, that we basically don't even need nano coating and all these other tools, because we have the best tool at our disposal, which is our soul. The teachings were like the caustic for the copper. They are clearing up our minds and emotions so that we can see reality and appreciate reality of who we are. The whole teaching, when we're talking about these interactions, is to understand how we work. And funny thing is that the star people, there are cultures that remember themselves as being star people. They all know about this technology. If you go to the Indians in the reservations, ask them about kachinas and stuff like this, they will smile. And if you're in the right mindset and of the right soul, they may even tell you about all the things we've been hearing from Mr. Keshe. They've been talking about this for hundreds and thousands of years.
Yep.
It's all there. It's just how we as humanity and as individuals perceive ourselves. And I don't know if you've been listening to Mr. Jack Kurze. He's been talking about how this UV light and the quality of the UV light determines how your circadian rhythm is working, and there are different diseases that can be alleviated if you get back to looking at the light in the early morning hours. I think when we got the Magrav unit, we received also a little star at home, in our homes. This is why we have these plasmatic effects of reduction of heat bills and stuff like this, because we have an energy source. I think with the Magrav unit as a pill, or if you want a tool, we can, if you were to go underground, and we wouldn't be able to get sunlight as we are able to do it right now, or if you would be going out into space where we don't have the sunlight as we are used to right now in our Earth's environment, the plasma unit would be the source of sunlight that we could convert as a twin brother to maintain what we presently call our bodies. And I think this is the reason why the teachings have been a little bit turned down, or tuned to our understanding, and we've been taught things repeatedly, because we've not connected the dots up until now, how these interactions are occurring and how important they are in terms of our daily lives, even at the present stage, without these devices. So up until now, we've been talking about pills and different materials to create a healthy condition, but we've not been really considering light, or the quality of light that we have in our environment and its effect on our well-being. So you remember Prometheus, the guy who brought fire to humanity, this Greek person who's then been chained to a rock and whose liver is getting eaten by birds. I think it's a knowledge about this whole process of deuterium and the balance of light in the human body, because as soon as you have an artificial light source, it can be even fire, you have the ability to get out of the sun dictated rhythm and qualities of light that we are made out of. And through those artificial lights, when your deuterium balance, for example, in your eye is out of order, then deuterium gets into the liver, and where the body starts to try to create balance again. And because it can't get balance, it becomes a fatty liver, and you lose energies. So what I want to say is, I'm a little bit complicated, is that since we have these artificial light sources, LEDs, and even the copper-based or tungsten-based light sources, as we use them for the past, say, 100 years, we have created an environment where we have artificially detached ourselves from the magnetic fields that are firstly created by the sun and secondly provided by Mother Earth. We are not walking barefoot. We're not using leather soles. I mean, we're not connected with the earth. We're not grounded, and we're also not appreciating the sun because we're wearing clothes. We're not naked, or so we don't expose our skin to the sun in the amount needed as it would be good to our health. Go back to Adam and Eve, or take a look at how the plants work. Plants are never fat because they're always grounded and they're always in the sunlight. And whenever there's not a proper amount of sunlight, they retract their above earth tendrils, like they get rid of their leaves. And with the Magrav unit and the ganses that we have received as knowledge, we can create broad spectrum light sources, and we can feed with the right understanding and the right know-how in terms of acceptance of our souls, that we are willing to step out of what's been comfortable and how we used to work and how we used to live. If we accept this new understanding, we can get back into a healthy rhythm. And this is why Mr. Keshe says that in the future, if we know how, we will be able to live very long lives, because there will be no diseases. Because if you feed only on fields without having to eat, without having to consume dirty water, I think even the air will be cleaned by our souls. Like that, you don't create the conditions for imbalance. So always we've been talking about nano and ganses and all the nice things, but we have to think in terms of light. What kind of light these things emit, and what kind of light we emit in terms of emotions and teachings and words, interactions that we do in our daily operations. And then everything will be very easy and simple and fall into place, and we'll get the move on.
I think the vitamins we got in our bodies, which are isotopes, which irradiate different light strengths, also interact, and they help keep us alive through the interaction of our soul with the different vitamin sources. That's why we don't get rid of the isotopes. We only get rid of plain common elements, not isotopes.
Well, as far as I understand, if we have elements are a group. It's the isotopes, the count of, if we go matter state, the count of neutrons, protons, and electrons, that is what makes up a specific isotope. Whenever we consume something, I think we're going into this energy state, the Ganses state, where radiations or light interactions, the balance of what kind of light each isotope emits, or what kind of radiation each isotope emits is what makes things go round. And this is why I said, even if you take so last week there was a this whole UV topic is a little controversial, because in some respect it's good, in some respect it's bad. It's the balance of things that makes it alive, or makes it right. So the body tries to get rid of deuterium in some respect, but if you take a look at the deuterium content of blood, it's about as high as it is in the water. It's very high in terms of, in comparison to how high it is in the different other parts of the body. And the reason for it is because I think that's the emission of UV light by the blood is what I would call, or the magnetic fields that the blood emit is what I would call the emotion. So just like our soul is a wide spectrum light emitter because it's a star, the blood is also a UV emitter. And I think Mark House posted a nice video last few days on the golden age of GANs about the different kind of caustics Mr. Keshe has been talking about. You can create the caustic of the blood, for example, or you can create the caustic of the solar system, or the caustic of the universe. And there are different types of caustics that you can work with to create different conditions. And I think in some respect, we can translate these words that you can create different kinds of lights or qualities of lights, because it's UV light that the soul emits, it's the UV light that the blood emits, it's the UV light that the sun emits, and each of them creates a different condition for interaction with other light sources. So what I wanted to say is, when we go out into the universe, we won't have matter at our hands to create things with. The only thing that we will be constantly swimming in, even though we consider it vacuum in the matter state, it's magnetic fields. And magnetic fields are lights, or light that we can turn into whatever we want. And this is why I came in again to talk so much, because Rick exactly showed an experiment where 2 deuterium sources were used to create matter, and even higher order molecules or proteins or whatever they were called. Focus on the light, get a spectrometer, let's test the ganses with the spectrometer, what kind of light they emit. This is why I said in some teachings ago that we should measure emotions.
Think of fields, not of light. Change your concept of the whole thing.
Well, maybe not. There's something to be said there. Like, if we think of rays, or a light source normally would emit rays, not necessarily fields from the source. It would be a ray, and the ray may have fields around it, or it may, when it hits something, it may generate fields. But usually the ray is like, comes from a source, whereas a field has more of a dimension to it, I guess. As it may not have a point source. The field is just a gradient among in a 3D space, let's say, or in a space,
I would think it's the other way around. You got fields, punctual fields or straightforward fields, and where they interact or degrade, or you get the beginnings of matter, and that's where you could start getting the light. But you always start with fields, not with light.
Always remember the creator. The creator is the source of both fields and light and rays. All the whether we call them fields or whether we call them light is in form of the perception of the observation, whether they are, say, static, because I would say matter is a form of field, but when we say light, they are traveling. Look at the UFOs. There are two configurations which we can see. They are either visible or they are in traveling mode and time skipping to another location. Whenever time skipping is occurring, that's what I would say is a ray when they go from A to B. And whenever they are in a certain location, then they are fields because they have a border, they have a body, they have a shield or whatever you want to call it. They can be touched or they can be interacted with.
Well, the creator is emitting a field, not a light. It produces a light when that field hits some matter state or amino acid, according to the second book.
Don't know about that.
I think that's a question of whether magnetic turns left or the gravitational turns right. We can't tell. It depends. It depends on the point of the observer. Thing is that the whole thing is one complete plasma, and whenever I think the source of the neutron, what we call the neutron, is when that light source, that ray that was traveling, turns into a spherical configuration. That's book number 2, as you're referring to. And this is why I brought up the Gabriel's horn analogy, because that's a hyperbolic curve. It got the trumpet's end where it opens up, where the sound comes out. That's the neutron configuration. And the other side, this very pointy thing, that's connected direct current to the creator. And it's light. So it's both at the same time. It's both a field. It's the field when we call it a neutron. And it's also a ray because it's constantly connected in direct line with the creator, because it's the creator itself or herself or the whole creation at once.
This would be a very nice question for Mr. Keshe to give us a bit of light with all this.
I think he knows what we're talking about and that we're talking about things like that in this group.
Yes, he certainly does know, but he doesn't tell us straightforward. He just gets us thinking. That's right, what we're doing right now, questioning ourselves.
We're doing our homework.
Can I pop in? This is Krasimir from Bulgaria.
Sure, go ahead, Krasner.
I don't know why, but I'm thinking that the only way we can see light is only when we have the interaction. And I'm not sure, but sometimes Mr. Keshe is giving us the example of the bright side of the Earth, where we see the daylight is where we see the interaction. And on the back side of the Earth, it's night, not because of something else, but because there is no actual interaction between the fields. So we basically can detect any plasma only if there is interaction. If there is no interaction, we cannot be able to detect it in any way.
But you can have an interaction between a field that's coming from the center of the universe or some other source and your own soul. And that's where you could create something
Yes,
in a
but for
matter
now we
state.
know. But for now we know that our soul is entrapped within the body, so the fields are not actually so strong to go outside of the body, and they would not be able to interact, at least for now.
They go out each night, else you wouldn't have dreams, you wouldn't be sleeping. And also consider if there were only one field, for example, the field of the creator, it needs some kind of interaction so that it exists. This was the question of if the creator has also an environment, which the environment reflects the fields of the creator so that creation exists. So whether it's a chicken and egg thing, this is why Mr. Keshe explains that at the boundary, there's a mirror that reflects the light. So the fields of the creator go out, and then there needs to be some kind of mirror, the twin of the creator, that mirrors the light of the creator back so that the creator can know that he exists and that his fields exist. It's the confirmation of existence, as he uses to say. And I think this is why anything or the creation exists at all, because this reflection is built in to the fields or the ray of light. It's the way creation works, and like this existence arises because if there was no reflection, then there were no creation.
Yes, but isn't it this reflection that you're talking about actually the boundary of the plasma, where the fields lose their strength from the center and they're so weak that they start coming back? And in the beginning they are magnetical, pushing outwards, and in the boundary they lose strength, they manifest in a physical or a lower level of energy dimension, and then they come back to the center again. And this is how the solar system was created. And at the boundary of it, we see the hydrogen.
Well, that's where the fields interact, they intertwine, and they create matter. And that's on the matter is where you got the interaction between the fields and the matter, you got the light.
I think we're talking about the same thing, but at different levels, as Rick likes to say. There's the light of creation, which is the plasma, that one plasma that we're working with. It's the creator that we're in and that we're part of, and that's the whole anything. And the second one is the light of each plasma, small plasma, the child of the big plasma, which is basically also a big plasma, that it's like the photoelectric effect, or like with electricity we can create light. That kind of magnetic field interaction is that small interaction that we're now talking about. So when we want to say light up that spaceship, it's like turning on the light in the light bulb, but the source is not an external power source, but the creation itself, or the system itself, that emits those fields that are turned back on itself. This is why I brought up the Geiger-Müller counter some weeks ago, because the Geiger-Müller counter was a field detector. And I think last week or 2 weeks ago, Mr. Keshe even explained that he was building a Geiger-Müller counter, but he had no radiation source. So he had to build a radiation source to be able to play with the Geiger-Müller counter, radiation detector. And then I think he combined the two, and he created a radiation detector that's also a radiation source. And if you take a look at, or if you consider what we've been talking about right now in terms of the creator and creation, the creator is a source of magnetic fields or rays. It's a radiation source, a light source. And then the creator, to be able to detect that he exists, created a reflection, a radiation detector, in other words. And it's all built into the same principle, the creation principle, that light source, whenever it goes out and it slows down, when we say it slows down, it goes into from magnetic to gravitational, but it's the same ray. It's one line connected onto itself. So at the point of slowing down, when it turns from magnetic to gravitational, that's where creation arises, and that's what we call the detector. So you understand?
Lawrence, I have a question for you.
Yes,
Do
but
you
it
hear me?
seems that you, sorry, it seems that you are explaining the transitional matter in a way in terms of light, but I don't think the transitional matter is tangible.
Yes, thank you, Casimir. This was my question. So we know in our knowledge of the plasma that the light is the weakest level in the plasma. Isn't it?
I don't know. I think it's the strongest. Depends on from where you look at it. Is the creator very weak or is the creator very strong? I think
Okay.
he's very, very, very weak, and he's being
Okay.
fed by the strong creation. But
Okay.
he created the strong creation.
Okay. From the knowledge what Mr. Cash brought, the creation of our universe, it is the black hole in the middle, yes?
From the matter's perspective, yes, because everything is gravitationally getting pulled in. But on the other side of the black hole, we have energies shooting out. So
That was the
also,
magic word I was looking for. Thank you. I've got another article to show here. Go ahead, keep talking.
So in the spectrums of lights, do we see the black hole as we see it in our eyes? This is a question I do not know the answer for it. So if someone knows, please jump in.
Well, here's something that just came up a couple of days ago in physics, that they've been thinking about. There's another planet out at the outer reaches of our solar system, this hypothetical planet 9, right? And they talked about it, and people have discussed it, and so on and so forth. Now there is a very strong evidence that this undiscovered object might be a black hole. Okay, so the reason they haven't discovered it is it's actually very small. So it would not show up in a telescope and that kind of thing. And by small, they mean very small. Let me see, it gets into it here. I'm not sure if this was the right article, but they're talking about this black hole that has more mass than, I think, 30 Earths, but it's the size of somewhere between a bowling ball and a baseball. And it's so dense in matter that it's, it's like black holes are, they're extremely dense. And it's so dense that it's much, much more mass than our Earth, but in the size of less than a bowling ball. And so it's not visible to telescopes and so on. It's way out the outer reaches of the solar system. And it's only only way they can measure it is by its gravitational effects on other planets and other things. So it's an example of there's no rays, there's no light coming out of it that we can measure or that we know of, but yet there's strong evidence that it must exist as a primarily gravitational object, rather than you know, magnetical gravitational, which the sun might be more of a magnetical gravitational, we could say.
But here we go back to thinking of a matter state. Astronomy only thinks of a matter state and not an energy state. Think of the black hole as a soul that is emitting energy continually.
Yep, well, a black hole's doing that for sure.
And
So-
Mr. Keshe describes the black hole as a huge, well, a recycling machine or a recycling ability. I know I saw an article this week, I didn't click on it, but it said scientists see or say that 3 black holes are coming together. I didn't click on the article because I figured they don't know what they're talking about. So I just read the headline of 3 black holes coming together.
That was yeah, in way out in space, let's say, in their observations of black holes and so on. Apparently, they can
I would
see
kindly
these
suggest you.
interactions.
I would kindly suggest you think in terms of a torus when you say the word black hole, because the torus has both fields. You know, book number 1, the F field. It's a toroidal field, and that's the creation is a black hole from one side. Matter goes into the creator to become energy again, to be recycled. Anytime you see a vortex in the water, or you know, there's these vortex cleaning systems that shred matter into very small pieces and turn them back into light. And even our soul, any neutron that we have in any matter is a black hole. It's a torus. It pulls in fields to maintain itself. And I think whenever we use this caustic thing, what we call the caustic method, is that we loosen the tenseness of the surface of what we see as matter, so that more energies can go through. And the more energies go through in terms of balance, the more it gives. So we convert the black hole into a white hole. So we convert the energy balance of the torus from taking to giving. And it's the same process that we're doing with our souls and with our interactions, and as a result of these teachings. We will be giving more than we are taking, and like this balance comes back to Mother Earth.
It was funny, today I saw someone I hadn't seen in a few months, and I was telling him what I was doing, and all of a sudden he just pops out and he says, "Do you know what a black hole is?" And I think I did a pretty good job, fairly good job explaining it. And I also included the paper Mr. Keshe submitted to the British Astronomical Society that Stephen Hawking had taken and changed his view of a black hole. And then at the end, I said, well, gee, your body is just like a universe, you know, and like a black hole in a way. I said, the food goes in here, but same with the black hole, it comes out the other end. and allows all this new creation materials to be available for the universe or the galaxy or a new galaxy.
Yes, right on. Well, maybe we can switch gears a bit here. Gianni has his second part two of his presentation ready to go. So maybe we can focus on that for a bit. Gianni, do you want to go ahead? Can you help him there, John?
Yeah. Gianni, ¿entendiste?
Yes, Rick, thank you. Sí, John. Quería lo primero presentar el portátil y cómo lo he hecho, si estás de acuerdo.
Sí, cómo no. He's
Un
going to
momento.
show us through his cell phone.
Aquí me va a ayudar Jetta. Ok. Voy a abrir el video. Bueno, la cámara.
He'll open his camera. There you are.
Hello. Gianni Jetta.
Hello.
Aquí en el laboratorio. Eso es el portátil. Creo que se ven, ¿no?
Sí, sí. This is his notebook and his phone working
Y
together.
ayer estuve en Zoom con el teléfono y en YouTube con el portátil en el Oasis sin conectar a la luz. Como ya sabéis, no tenemos la luz y funciona la batería. ¿Y cuántas horas fueron ayer, John?
Oh, habrán sido un par de horas tranquilamente.
Sí.
Yesterday he's worked with his notebook and his cell phone, and he has no electrical connection, and his batteries lasted the whole ordeal.
Y todavía me ponen 34 minutos que quedan de la batería después de 5 años.
He still has 34 minutes left over after 5 years. Que no, en los 5 años no la cargas o lo pones ahí con la célula fotoeléctrica.
No, John, estoy hablando de 5 años, cuánto tiempo tiene la batería sin cambiarla. Y ahora quería hablar del otro.
His notebook has 5-year-old batteries and he hasn't changed them yet. And they're still lasting quite a bit.
Se puede ver, ¿sí?
You can see his opened notebook down below.
He quitado de aquí los ventiladores.
Those are both of the fans.
Los dos. Y aquí es el tubo para enfriar.
Yeah, these are the copper pipes for dissipating the heat.
Y lo he hecho con GANs, con los 4 de base.
And he's put some GANs, the 4 different GANs on that copper tube.
Sí, más ahí. Y aquí, donde antes estaba, a ver, aquí creo. Aquí donde estaban antes los ventiladores, también he puesto los GANs.
¿Sacaste los ventiladores?
Sí, sí.
He has taken the fans out of the computer and he's only put some GANs in its place. So he's not having fans refrigerating his notebook.
Y tiene 1 año de funcionamiento sin ventiladores.
It's been working for a whole year without any fans.
Y ya sabéis, con él hago las presentaciones y todo lo que hago.
And he's continually working with this notebook, with the presentations and what have you.
Y aquí arriba es la batería. Sube, sube, sube.
And there's the battery.
En este tipo de portátil Asus,
He's got an Asus notebook.
la batería no se puede quitar, está sin quitarse.
Yeah,
Fija.
you can't change the battery on an Asus.
Pero yo lo he abierto
But I have opened it
y he puesto en las celdas, las tres que tienen. Aquí se puede ver.
and in the three cells the battery has. ¿Qué has puesto?
Aquí,
Ganses?
no, aquí John es cobre nano.
Ah, he has covered them with nano copper.
Que he sacado de unas baterías de 4 voltios. Es muy, muy fino.
These copper plates he's taken out of very small batteries.
Y en la parte de atrás,
On the rear part of the batteries, sí, que has hecho.
he puesto 3 discos de eso que se utiliza para maquillaje, para cosméticos.
Ajá, ¿qué le pusiste a los discos? Ganses.
Ganses, sí.
Behind the batteries, he's put those discs women use for puffing their faces.
Tres discos de algodón.
3 of those cotton puffers behind the batteries with some ganses on them.
Donde he puesto los 4 ganses.
He has put the 4 different ganses there. Eso vendría a ser como los circuitos integrados que dice Keshe que vamos a tener en el futuro. No van a necesitar batería.
John, sí, la idea es lo que he visto que ha presentado el señor Keshe. La idea.
The idea is to work with the ideas Mr. Keshe has given us of the eternal batteries.
He hablado de un portátil que ha abierto 2 portátiles para intentar hacer, digamos que utilizar el sistema de enfriar para alimentar el portátil.
He has opened up 2 notebooks and he has used the refrigerating fans to feed the batteries.
Cuando he empezado a hacerlo hace un año,
he started experimenting with this a year ago.
La batería no valía para nada.
The batteries didn't keep any charge at all.
Y también el portátil se calentaba muy fuerte.
And the notebook would pick up a very high temperature.
No podría llevarlo conmigo porque tenía que poner un ventilador abajo para...
I couldn't take the notebook along because he had to keep fans below the notebook to keep it at a normal temperature.
Y de entonces, de un año, ya no tengo ese problema.
And for the last year, I haven't had any of these problems.
Y no he logrado completamente hacerlo sin alimentación.
I haven't managed to eliminate the recharging at 100%, but
lo estoy cargando una vez al día.
But he's only charging them once a day.
Es lo que he podido hacer. Y
Th-
lo que he comprendido y lo sé que tengo que trabajar más.
This is
Comprender
what
más.
I've been experimenting with, and I've got to work a bit more with all this experiment and see what I can manage.
Ok, voy a cerrarlo.
I'm going to close the notebook. La verdad que has hecho un trabajo maravilloso. You've done a marvelous work.
Y por momento es lo que hemos hecho y también lo presentamos y compartimos para que todo el mundo pueda ver que podemos jugarnos con eso y lograr. Adelante.
I have presented this so people can realize that on this, with these experiments, we can reach many a different way of working with electronics. It's incredible, no? The way he can manage to keep the energy in his notebook.
Yes, very interesting, Johnny. Thank you. Keep up your research on that. That's great.
Ok, si queréis podemos, bueno, si hay preguntas, adelante.
Do you have any questions? Just shoot.
Okay, any questions for Gianni? Trying to check out the chats here. I don't see anything special.
Yeah, we haven't had any late chat.
El portátil he presentado en un testimonial, me parece que hace un año en el mes de septiembre o octubre, creo.
He presented this experiment about a year ago, September, October last year.
Okay, there is the testimonial, I believe is it Monday coming up? Is that the second?
Well, he presented this in a testimonial a year ago.
Yeah, I'm just suggesting that maybe he could have a testimonial in the testimonials meeting coming up, which
Sí, estoy
I
de
think it's
acuerdo.
on the 14th, actually. The 14th will be the second Monday.
El 14, el segundo lunes es cuando tenemos el otro testimonial. It's okay with him. He will do this.
He comprendido y en ese momento estoy en otra ciudad para hacer el calentamiento en un sitio grande con el equipo de Târgu Mureș. Pero sí que voy a entrar.
Right now he's going over to another city to present work on the heating elements in the ambient homes, I imagine, or the winter gardens. ¿Lo vas a hacer en ambiente de invernadero o en las casas?
Es un restaurante que ahora va a ser un laboratorio y un centro internacional para encuentros.
He's going to present this in a restaurant, which is a future laboratory and a center for meetings on all these technologies.
John, es lo que se llama el Eden, espacio para la manifestación de la totalidad.
It's called, it's a Eden of manifestation for the future of humanity.
El sitio, el grupo ahora se llama Eden, espacio de la manifestación de la totalidad.
The page is called Eden, the manifestation of the future of humanity.
Ok, si lo voy a hacer en los testimoniales del mismo sitio.
He will do this, these testimonials also in the same site, Wi-Fi site.
Porque no tengo problema con la conexión de net.
He has no problems with the net connection.
Y puedo hacer con el móvil hotspot.
And he can do this with a hotspot mobile, which
Sí.
I don't know what it is, but
Porque también quiero mostrar otra cosa y voy a pasar en el portátil el sonido.
he's going to change the audio to the other notebook right now to show us
Porque
something.
quería mostrar lo que he hecho con el teléfono también en la dimensión plasmática.
He also wants to show us what he's done on his cell phone with the plasmatic technology.
Johnny, John, and everybody else. It's like a joke. Perhaps Mr. Keshe is needed come to Johnny for internet.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Estamos viendo tu foto, Gianni, con Jetta. Ahí estamos. Ahí estás perdido en el espacio. You're lost in space. Sí,
No sé cómo quitar para que se vea. Bueno.
Tiene varios infinitos y triscales.
Sí. Y bueno, creo que se puede ver si lo muevo, ¿no?
Sí.
He hecho eso en el móvil, arriba los triskelions, pero también le he abierto.
I have also opened my cell phone. He's got the triskelions and infinites on the back of the cell phone.
Y dentro de la batería he puesto también el nanocobre.
And inside the battery, he's also put some copper nano coating. Copper, like he's done on the notebook.
Y por eso la batería del móvil lo utilizo unos días sin necesitar cargarse.
And that's why my batteries last for several days on end, with not having to charge the cell phone every day.
Y es maravilloso porque así no importa si el sitio tiene luz o no.
And this is marvelous because it doesn't matter if I do have energy to charge my cell phone.
Y así tengo una independencia para poder hacer reuniones, presentaciones.
This is interesting because then I don't have to rely on connections to make all these presentations in several places.
He presentado en la noche de científicos europeos el portátil.
I have presented this cell phone to several scientists in a meeting.
Y también la tecnología Keshe con la presentación que es cómo y qué se hace.
And I've also talked to them about the Keshe technology and what can be done.
Y fue maravilloso porque así he presentado los oasis el móvil, no el móvil, el portátil.
I have also presented my cell phone and the notebook. I know my technology, the Oasis technology.
Y he
¿Y qué
presentado,
crearon? ¿Te
sí.
creen o no te creen?
Claro, porque han visto que he hecho la presentación sin tener que conectarme.
They've believed in him because they've seen that he hasn't had to recharge his cell phone or notebook at all during the presentation.
Y además de eso, un portátil como es ese i7,
It's an i7 he has as a cell phone.
el procesador del portátil es i7.
His processor in the cell phone is an i7.
Y los que sabían me han dicho que es imposible que funcione sin ventiladores.
And people that know this technology, these cell phones, couldn't believe it because they say those cell phones can't work without any ventilation.
Y también hemos presentado los oasis
We've also presented our Oasis
y la alimentación hecho con aquaplasma.
with the feeding of the plasmatic water of the different plants.
Y han podido comprobar
And they've been able to testimonial, see all this work I've done with the Oasis.
y entonces no le pareció tan increíble.
And this has convinced them that this is not so incredible, that is feasible.
Sí que muchos no sabían nada de tecnología Keshe,
Many of them had no idea about the Keshe technology.
pero cuando han visto querían saber y aprender y quieren empezar a hacer cosas.
But when they've seen this, they wanted to start learning about this technology and experiment with it.
Y están invitados para hacer juntos en el laboratorio.
And they're being invited over to experiment here in my laboratory.
Ok, si hay preguntas, con gusto. Y
If you got any
después,
questions, just shoot.
y después podemos mostrar la calefacción plasmática.
And then afterwards we could show the central heating we have with the plasmatic technology. No questions?
What does Gianni think about Mr. Keshe saying that we're going to get away from the GANs and the watering and so much and elevate the soul of the plant?
¿Qué pensás, Gianni, sobre lo que dijo Keshe, que nos vamos a ir apartando de la tecnología del plasma y vamos a trabajar directamente con el alma de las plantas y la nuestra?
He said that if you approach a farmer that had 100,000 hectares and you told them to water it with GANs and so on, he'd laugh at you.
Keshe ha dicho que si vas a un estanciero que tiene miles de hectáreas y que tiene que regarlo con esto, se reiría de vos, pero que pudiese trabajar con su alma directamente.
Es lo que hacemos aquí, John.
This is what we do here right now.
Y lo que estamos presentando
And this is what I've presented to you.
es cómo hemos logrado comprender que tenemos que trabajar con el alma.
It's that we have realized that we have to work with our souls.
I
Por
think
eso
he's doing a beautiful job. Excellent job. The plants look so happy.
¿Entendiste, Gianni?
Sí, sí. Por ejemplo, los que están comprobando la alimentación con plantas del oasis?
La gente,
Sí.
the people that have eaten my production of the different plants,
Puede sentir algo diferente, muy diferente de todo lo que existen.
they can feel a big difference between whatever they've been comparing it to.
Porque, como ha dicho el señor Keshe, hemos elevado el alma de las plantas.
Because as Mr. Keshe said, we have elevated the souls of the plants.
Y somos conscientes de que no necesitamos comer como ya lo hace todo el mundo.
And we're conscious that we don't need to eat like everybody else does.
Y lo que hemos presentado en el oasis es para mostrar que se puede hacer solo con los campos, pero en realidad con el alma.
And here in the oasis, what we have presented, we could show that we don't need to feed the plants. We could only work, we could do it with our souls.
Mi
Only.
portátil se llama Jimmy.
His cell phone, he names it as Jimmy,
Y tiene un alma.
and it has a soul. Well, in fact, everything has a soul, doesn't it?
El coche no es un coche, es el drago.
His car is Drago, it's not a car.
Can I say something?
Go
Quick.
ahead, Jalal.
Yes, I would like really to thank you, Gianni, because you are working, you are doing, and this is the beauty on you. You are not only talking, theoretic, you are working, and this is very beautiful. Thank you. If you come to the teaching today in the private, I will send you a teaching of Mr. Keshe. It will help you a lot in that. Thank you, Gianni.
Thank you very much,
¿Entendiste,
Jalal.
Jan? Ajá.
Sí, si puedes traducir, John, en español para Jetta, por favor.
Sí, dice que si puedes estar presente en las clases de hoy, que Jalal justamente va a hablar de estos temas.
Pero no sé cómo entrar.
Jalal, you got the private teachings. He's not a student.
Yes.
You get what I mean?
I just wanted to say bonita.
Why? Okay, I will do something.
Él va a ver qué puede hacer, Gianni, así puedes acceder a las clases privadas.
Okay.
I will bring you in. I will donate for that. No problem.
Thank you, Jalal.
Jalal dice... fine.
Quería decir, bueno, si no hay más preguntas, voy a presentar lo que hemos hecho con la calefacción, pero ahora sí, y me alegro mucho, porque, claro, estamos trabajando con el alma.
If there are no questions, I'll continue with the air conditioning process and the way we work with our souls.
Let's ask our host, Rick. Shall we carry-
It seems good to me. Yep. There is the thing that we're trying to keep the broadcast now down to about 2.5 hour maximum, but we're beyond that at this point. We did get a late start, however, so just carry on. I think we're fine. Go for it.
¿Entendiste, Gianni? Continúa.
Sí, ha dicho lo de las 2 horas, pero bueno, voy a continuar.
Adelante, pues tuvimos un atraso en el comienzo.
Ok, ¿me escuchan? ¿Sí?
Sí.
Ah, un momento. ¿Me escuchan?
Sí.
Ah, ok. Otra vez con el teléfono. Voy a abrir la cámara. Ok. Aquí es el pecho.
This is what I have hanging from the roof.
El sol.
My sun.
El sol JJ que está hecho con los ganses y los tubos.
It's made with different ganses and tubes.
Aquí son unos cuadros.
Pintado con ganses.
Son cuadros de pintura, las pinturas que se utilizan para pintar, pero después lo he pulverizado con ganses.
Yeah, we painted these with normal painting, different paints, but we pulverized them with the GANS water afterwards.
En las paredes, si me acerco, se puede ver de muy cerca, creo, algunas gotitas.
The walls are sprayed with GANS water, and con GANS y agua de GANS, ambos.
He empezado al principio solo el agua de GANS, agua plasmática, pero después con plasma del reactor con un poquito de GANS.
First, he sprayed the walls with GANS water, but then he also put some GANS to the spraying machine.
En el pecho es un folio radiante que no lo utilizo de casi 2 años porque no es necesario.
¿Qué es policarbonato?
No, lo que se ve es un folio radiante que se utiliza para la calefacción.
The heat radiating roof, but he hasn't used it for quite a while.
Y no fue necesario utilizarlo porque hemos logrado el calentamiento plasmático.
We haven't had to use these resources because we've managed to keep the temperature with plasmatic technology.
Aquí donde están los enchufes, en todos los enchufes del laboratorio, hemos puesto algunos dispositivos.
These are different technology gadgets he's added to the electrical inputs.
Y aquí creo que se puede ver. A ver.
¿Qué es el termostato?
Sí.
This is a temperature gauge, 20 degrees.
20.9 grados centígrados.
20.9, that would be about 21 degrees centigrade. Very nice temperature.
Y aquí tenemos otro termostato. ¿Se puede ver? A ver. ¿Dónde está la cámara?
Here I have another thermostat, but we haven't managed to see it yet. ¿Dónde está el termostato? ¿En tu mano? Ah, ahí.
Sí. ¿Se puede ver ahora?
Sí. Ah, ¿es lo de afuera?
Sí, afuera son 13 grados, dentro 21.
We got 13 degrees outside and 21 inside.
¿Se ve la imagen?
Sí, pero ahí dice 11. Ah, no, 13 abajo, sí.
Más abajo,
Ve.
no se ve. Es ahora 11.
30 degrees right down below. Up top must be the pressure, 1127.
Ok. También tenemos algunos dispositivos en las esquinas.
He has put several gadgets hanging from the corners.
Aquí el router con los infinite.
He's got the router with the infinites hanging from it.
Aquí otro experimento.
Here's another experiment con otra notebook.
Sí, es el de Nico, que también está dentro hecho como está el mío.
This is Nico's notebook, which I've done the same experiment to it.
Y también el Vegeta está hecho con...
And Jeta's notebook also I've done the modification.
Y aquí algunos reactores
Here are some reactors
que funcionan del mes de enero.
that have been working ever since January.
Hemos regalado unos 600 cubetas con gas.
We have given away over 600 vials with GANs.
Y también los gases con que hemos empezado en el Oasis Provence.
And also with the Ganses which we provided for the Provence Oasis.
Porque ya no hace falta hacer más reactores.
We don't need to make any more reactors.
Porque de unos pocos podemos recoger
Multiplicar.
todo lo que necesitamos.
We could make all the Gans water we want with the Ganses we already have. We don't need any more reactors.
Aquí es un reactor hecho con sal de magnesio.
This reactor is made with magnesium salts.
CO2 y abajo otro con potasio. Sal de
And this other
potasio.
one is made with the potassium salts.
Las bobinas para hacer el gas están hechos con en nano cáustico.
The coils for the reactors are made with the caustic method.
Y aquí tenemos las flores que John ya lo sabes. Están secas pero vivas.
These are the flowers he given to him at the flower shops when they're no good anymore, and he revives them with plasma.
Y es maravilloso que puede pasar cuando trabajamos con el alma.
And it's marvelous when we work with our souls.
Y somos, digamos, ahora empezamos a comprender algunas cosas.
And now we've started to comprehend some of these things.
Y estamos trabajar para elevar el alma.
And we're working to elevate our souls. Gianni, ¿no has explicado que a veces tenés 18 grados bajo cero afuera con la ventana abierta y tienes 20 grados adentro?
Ah, bueno, sí, gracias por recordarme.
I reminded him he is in winter he has 18 degrees below zero outside. He leaves the windows open because he smokes, and inside he has 20 degrees centigrade. He keeps the difference of temperature.
John, la ventana está siempre así abierta todo el año.
This window is always open because of his vice, his smoking custom.
Bueno, eso es lo que quería compartir con vosotros.
This is what I wanted to share with all of you.
Y gracias al señor Keshe, a Carolina y a vosotros a todos.
And thank you very much to Mr. Miriam Keshe, Caroline, and all of you.
Porque participando en las reuniones públicas, gracias Rick por el Plasma Reactor Group.
And thank you, Rick, for Plasma Group and all the public groups.
Porque participando y escuchando hemos aprendido muchísimo. Bueno, hemos aprendido un poco.
Because being present in all these public teachings, I have managed to learn something about the plasma technology.
Y por eso estamos haciendo presentaciones.
And this is why we're making different presentations.
Y otra vez, muchas gracias de nuestra parte. Gracias.
Gracias.
And thank you once again, or to all of you. Thank you, Gianni. Muchísimas gracias, Gianni. Y Jetta.
Yes, thank you very much. Very, very nice. Is that Mark there? I heard.
Yes, excellente, Gianni. Does Gianni know that he could apply for any financial hardship, Africa or South America, if he wanted to become a private student? If that's a
Sí.
limitation.
Sí, Gianni, si tenés un problema económico, podrías aplicar, pedir la incorporación como estudiante, como se hace la gente del África y de Sudamérica, estamos haciendo.
Lo he hecho, John, si sabes, hace unos meses. Bueno,
¿Y todavía no tuviste respuesta?
no, bueno, no he tenido la respuesta que tengo que hacer como hace todo el mundo, pero he mandado algunos papeles a la fundación.
He has sent a solicitation to the foundation several months ago, but he hasn't had a positive answer yet. They have asked for other papers.
Y lo que quería decir no es problema con el dinero.
It's not a problem of money.
Nosotros somos voluntarios de toda la vida.
We have been working voluntarily all our lives.
Pero no tenemos, no puedo completar los papeles que se necesitan para entrar en la fundación.
But I haven't been able to complete all the paperwork that I've been asked for.
No pagamos luz, no tenemos.
He has no paperwork that can vouch for his way he's living and what books. He has no electrical connection. He has no other connections. So
Ni más problemas.
no more problems. No tenemos, no hay. Jalal dice que te lo va a tratar de solucionar.
Yeah,
Yes,
go
wasn't.
ahead.
I wasn't trying to put him on the spot or anything, John. I just think he's a beautiful addition to any class.
Yeah, he certainly is.
Let him know that, please.
Yeah, dice más que sos una persona espléndida y que tus clases son un ejemplo.
Thank you very much. Y he aprendido de vosotros, de todos. Y gracias.
I have learned from all of you, and thank you very much. Well, Rick, have we lost you?
No, I am here. I am here.
I don't know if you want to end the teaching as to.
Well, I'll just ask if anybody has something else they would like to bring up or further discuss, and we can go a little longer if we wish.
We've been up for 3 hours right now.
Yes, that's right. So we're getting to the time where we probably should end things, but if someone has a burning question or wants to get that video of their flying saucer in the garage out, now is the time. No takers on that, eh? One of these days, maybe. Well, maybe we should.
We've also got Gatua in his agricultural teaching right now. Started a few
Yeah,
minutes ago.
that's the other thing I was worried about too. I don't want to keep everyone here when they could be doing that or getting ready for Jalal's class later. He wants people to go to, so. Okay, so let's wrap it then for today's Keshe Plasma Reactor Group for Wednesday, October 2nd, 2019. Thank you everyone for participating. It was interesting. It had some lovely things to present and some great ideas that I think we'll be revisiting, especially in terms of that ultraviolet rays and deuterium and the creation of energy and life in the universe. So I think we're on to something there. So we just need more explanation, more fleshing out of that, maybe some practical examples.
Yeah, we've got to get our concepts clear in a clear way so we can visualize what's happening with our technology.
Yeah, I think Lawrence has a pretty good idea there. We'll have to extract a little more out of him with some diagrams or something, and we'll all ponder it and see if we can penetrate the mysteries of that aspect.
Rick, did you ask me for something?
No, we just mentioned we wanted to leave the timetable clear for your class.
Thank you.
We want people to prepare for your class, so we need to end things here and allow others to do their classes.
Yes, thank you.
We've also got Gatua's class going on right now.
Yeah. Okay, it's been good. Thanks everyone, and see you next week. And don't forget, of course, about the Knowledge Seekers workshop coming up tomorrow. And I'm sure it'll be another very interesting workshop. A lot going on for Mr. Keshe and this new organization and the transformations in the stock market company that's going on and so on. It's quite a bit happening there. I haven't heard any news since the convention on the weekend as well. It's been relatively quiet, but I'm sure we'll hear about that or something about that at least on Thursday as well.
Well, Caroline mentioned that Miriam may be present today in her teaching.
Right. All right, let's wrap it then. Bye everyone, catch you next time.
Thank you, Rick.
Yes, thank you, Rick.
And John.
It's a pleasure.
And everyone.